Hey, Ron, Dennis, thanks for taking the call, or you called me today, actually. So appreciate that. So, hey, just a high level, not to meant to be all inclusive. So, one of the functions in Sage 100, we do have a estimating system, and so the best way, if we go further, I'd love to get a an estimate from you guys that you have in Excel. I assume that's how you do them, and then I'll recreate that in here. I just need an Excel document, and I can kind of recreate anything. Let me just find one real quick here. Doesn't make any difference. I'm just going to do this, just a dumb example, but you'll get the idea here. So full blown estimating looks like Excel, feels like Excel. It's not. It's our own estimating system. So up here are a whole bunch of assumptions like let's open this up. How many square feet? How many square feet production journeyman can paint in an hour? How many feet does a gallon of paint cover? How many square feet can I wash? Um, some man hours in here and my paint, whatever. So variables. Um, I hide these columns because it usually confuses people. But just like Excel, I actually then use that. So I'm only going to go through a couple of these. I just want you to get a kind of the concept here. So like for supervision, my formula is take the quantity, which is 25,000, okay, and divide it by 2,000 because I think I need 1 hour for every 2,000 square feet. So 25,000 divided by 2,000, it puts 12 and a half hours in my estimate. Uh, this basically says take the square footage and divide it by the power wash rate, and then it figures out how many hours that I need. Again, not rocket science here. It's basically just dividing this 2,100 into 25,000 and says calculates that. So nobody's doing math formulas as they're doing it. You're just filling in variables and then going for it. And then I think I have another one here. Nope. Uh, Let me just show you one more example. And my favorite here, hang on a second. Only because you can picture this. So this is an assembly, and these are the parts that make up the assembly, and these are things that you build yourself. I did my estimate, and I need 20 of these. And run, I don't care what it is. It could be 20 feet of demolition. What I don't care. All I know is that when I put 20 up here, I know I need 7.5 hours of a tech for each one of these, and I need one condenser for each that's up here. So if this was one, it'd be real simple math, right? I just one times everything, and it tires it out. But you know what? I got 8 of them on this job, and so what's that come out to? Well, it means I need 60 hours for this, 60 hours for this line item, 8 of those units, 8 of these units, 400 pieces of pipe. So it makes all those calculations for me based on this. I call it a recipe just because it makes sense. For the recipe to create that, it knows the cost from my database from the last time I bought it. It now extends out my extended cost, allows me to put overhead and profit on here, and now I got my sales price for each one of these. Once you get these built, knocking out that next estimate is a piece of cake. But here's why we like it. I go up here. I now have my budget numbers for each of those cost codes. I can print a proposal. I can print purchase orders to buy those materials, or I can print subcontracts to hire subs to do the work. Bottom line is, nobody's keying everything after this job. Nobody's keying the budget in. Nobody's typing up purchase orders, and nobody's typing up subcontracts. It's all going to flow from here directly into those documents. And so, to me, huge time saver. And by the way, probably eliminates a whole lot of mistakes as well. I'm just kind of go down a list. Obviously we get online with your client and yourself. We can go diving deeper into some of this stuff. But daily field reports, one of my other favorite items in here. So on a daily basis, what day did I work? Simple stuff here. We're not asking them to have a master's or a PhD in this stuff. What did I do? Who am I? What was the temperature range today? What was the weather like today? Sometimes I may need that for a claim. Who worked on my job today? What tasks did they do? What kind of pay is it, regular time or overtime or premium? And how many hours did they work? That's pretty simple stuff. What subcontractors were on my job site today? Because I may want to know that. Which pieces of my own equipment worked and what item was it working on? And then down the bottom, did I have a meeting today? Oh yeah, I had a meeting. What did I talk about? Here's all my notes from the meeting. So everything that happened on this day is documented right there. The nice part is, and we talked about this on the phone a little bit, if I go to payroll now and I go to payroll processing, payroll records, and obviously I'm clicking faster. You don't need to know how I got there. One of my options now is to import data from my daily field reports. And so if the guys in the field tell me who's working, where they're working, and what they worked on, and for how long, it's everything I need to know to fill out their time card. Well, I'm just going to extract that information from the daily field report, throw it right in this time card, and I'm ready to basically process payroll, or in your case, potentially produce a report to send to ADP or Paychecks. So we have that. Pretty nice. The next thing on your list, which I just showed you that, I jumped the gun. And then my favorite, I have two reports here. One here and I have one someplace else. Our specialty subs love this report. And let me just pull one up here real quick. Again, fill in the items of work that you do. I don't care what those descriptions are. This is your budget. Could have come from our estimate or could have come from your Excel document. I really don't care. It doesn't make any difference to us. How many hours were processed through payroll? This is just math, Ron. This is just saying, hey, I use 32% of my man hours here. I use 200% of my man hours here. Just a math calculation. But over here, you're asking your foreman to calculate what percent am I actually complete on this thing. And so let's use this one here. There's line 5. And we're actually, let's make this a good job today. We're 65% complete on that item. I now can tell you that I need 8 more hours to finish it, and I'm going to be 25 hours under budget. And that goes through all of these. So that's the way a lot of our specialty subs will look at it. The other way, and my background is heavy highway, I'm a huge proponent of what I call unit cost. And I'm going to pull up a job real quick here, so hang on one second. This is what I want to know. I want to know that this is my budget. This is what I estimated on bid day. That's my cost. This is some kind of number of units. Again, it could be 400 cubic yards, 400 linear feet, 400 eaches, 400 acres. Don't care. Doesn't make any difference to me. As long as I can measure it. Here's the cost that's gone through the system right now. That's my payroll, my material, my subcontract, equipment cost. And then I just asked the guy in the field, how many units have you got done at the end of the week? I've got 210 of those done. It now tells you, you budgeted $77 a unit. It's costing you $66 a unit. And you can read these other columns going across. Is it useful on a weekly basis? Yes. Where it comes really, really helpful is at the end of this job, and I'm bidding a job similar to this one, I can go in here, and this is obviously demo data, so it doesn't mean anything, but if the last 5 jobs, I bid $85 or $86 to do each unit, and I'm spending $137 on one, $135 on another, and whatever, something's wrong. Somebody in the field's all screwed up, or the estimator's missing something, but I can't bid that number anymore if my history now is this. And that's what you're going to get. You're going to know your unit cost by task of work. Are they always comparable? Maybe not, but they're going to be similar. If I'm not hitting that budget consistently, I've got to look at my field operations or I've got to look at my estimating efforts. One of them is wrong. And so that's what this is going to provide to you. A nice little forecast. I'm going to close that real quick. Worker comp reports, I'm not going to show you. I can send you that. That's real simple. But service, work orders, I'm not sure which one of these your companies would use this, but picture this, the phone rings, a client calls you up and says, hey, I need you to come out for a day. I got something that's got to be done real quick. I put their client number in or I look it up, one or the other. Part I like is it automatically warns me that they have a huge past due balance. So, I have to make a decision if I actually want to go do that work or not. So we'll just say, fix something, I don't know what they call you for. Fix something, okay? It's a work order. Could be a quote. I'll just start as a work order. It's a repair that I'm going to go out and do. And they only work with Carlos, so I'm going to send Carlos out there. And they want them tomorrow. And they want them at 7 a.m. And he'll be there till 11. And it's 45 minutes across town for him to get there. Pretty basic stuff a dispatcher ought to know. I'm going to save this real quick. Now what do I have? I have a dispatch board, and there's tomorrow, and there's Carlos leaving the office at 6:15, where he's going to be during the day. If I right-click it, I can actually email all that information to the technician. And I'm sure this doesn't happen at any of your companies. Carlos decides he doesn't want to work tomorrow. And I can take that thing and I can actually just grab it over here and give it to Frank. So I've now reassigned that. That's how simple it is. The other way to think of this is the phone rings and somebody says, "Hey, I don't know how many texts you have, but we'll just say I'm going to open these 3 up real quick. I need somebody to come out tomorrow." I can look right here and say, "You know what? Carlos doesn't do anything on Friday. I'm just going to do that." And then I sign it to a new work order, and I go this way. I can work from the dispatch board back to the work order, or I can work from the work order to the dispatch board. And so, pretty simple. Obviously, I've been using this a long time, so it's really simple for me. One more thing, and I'm going to call it quits here because I want to make sure I can get this to you. One of my clients, he wanted to know, he had a goal for his guys, and he did paving or something. It was paving, I think, or patching or something. And he wanted to know, he had a goal that these guys needed to bill out every week. And he knew if they hit that number, he was making a profit. And so I'm just going to run this for Carlos here and not put a date range in. So what I'm going to get here, you'll see in a second, these are all of the work orders Carlos did. I could have filtered those for a week period. I can look right down here and see what he billed out. And by the way, he lost a lot of money on this item. And what he made as a profit on each one of those work orders. So I know what he billed out. And after all the cost is in, how much he made me. So very simple report. And by the way, I told you I'd warn you. This is not part of the system. I wrote this myself. I literally took us about 10 minutes to write that report. So if you want it, all you got to do is ask for it. But there's a lot of other reports, but that's exactly what my client wanted. He wanted to know how much each guy billed out each week so he could see what their revenue was. He knew if they're billing out X dollars, that covered all their fixed costs and all their overhead and what have you. He knew he was making money. And so anyway, those are things on your list. Obviously, I rushed through this, but the bottom line is you got 10 minutes or 12 minutes here to get a good overview. You see how easy it is to get around the system. I want to do a change order, I click here. If I want to do a purchase order, I click this. If I want to see an RFI or I want to see a job status report, it's just everything you like will be placed on your desktop or each individual's desktop so he can find the reports he likes. If I don't want that one up here, I can drag it down here. I don't want that one, I can delete it, whatever. But I can just launch right from this desktop, and that's where your project managers are going to spend their time. If I'm an AP clerk, I spend my time on this screen. I set up vendors, I enter purchase orders, enter invoices, select checks, and write checks. And here's my 2 favorite reports, my committed cost report and my AP aging. So everything can be customized to make it work the way you think. And so anyway, hey, you probably won't get to look at this tonight, but it should be there in your basket first thing in the morning. So hey, I appreciate your time. After your meeting tomorrow, give me a call and let me know if you have some questions or you want to set up a demo. Thanks. Have a great evening or a great morning when you look at it.